Hello, you guys. It's your girl Lilium here, and welcome to part 2 of Sniff. Sit back, relaxed, and get ready for the ending to this creepypasta. Lily didn't come home that night. Days passed. I was given no clue as to her whereabouts. I called a few times, but her phone was off. I should have been concerned that she left so much of her stuff in the apartment. But she had her ID and bank cards. She had plenty of scrubs stowed at her parents' house in Rosemead, and I assumed no one in her family was fond enough of me to call. Finally, a week later, Rivera and I were sent back to Rustic Gables. I don't remember who or what we were supposed to pick up. We were walking through the little lobby, noticing Greta's absence, when I felt hands around my waist. Tiny, perfectly manicured hands. Lily stood behind me, looking happier than she had in a year. Rivera shook his head playfully and told me he'd meet me on the second floor. When he was gone, Lily took me by the hand and led me away towards the back door, which was ever only used by nurses sneaking a smoke. Down a narrow hallway I'd never noticed, which extended to the left of the back door and dead-ended. "Lil," I said, "where have you been? I was starting to get worried." She stopped pulling and turned around, holding me close. She wrapped her arms around my neck, stood on her tiptoes, and kissed me passionately. "I've been with a friend," she murmured into my ear. "I miss you, Cyrus." She kissed me again, then pulled away and resumed tugging my hand with surprising strength. She stopped in front of a note-script little closet, across from the janitor's storage. "Make love to me, Cyrus," she breathed, her voice thick and sultry. "I know a special place." She reached for the doorknob. As soon as she let go of my hand, my senses came crashing back down to earth. "Lil," I said kindly, "I've got to pick up a patient. Come home tonight, we'll talk then." She gazed into my eyes with a come-hither smile. For some reason this freaked me out. Maybe because her mouth seemed to extend a little too far into her cheeks. Or maybe because in the 6 years we'd been a couple, Lily had never once used the phrase, "make love to me." One way or another, my weird radar bleeped, and with one more "come home tonight, Lil," I escaped to the elevator. "Cyrus," Lily called after me. I didn't turn around. On the second floor, I found Rivera talking to a squat Korean woman I recognized as the first floor head nurse, Lily's supervisor. The nurse glared when she saw me. "Hey you," she said gruffly. "You're Lily's husband, right?" I nodded, inviting the catty comment. "Where has your wife been?" she asked. "Her phone's dead. She hadn't shown up for work in a week." She's here," I said. "She's downstairs. I just talked to her." The nurse shook her head. "Well, I haven't seen her all day, and I just left the desk 5 minutes ago. She hasn't clocked in since the 12th. I was confused. I told the nurse something, then ran down the stairs to the first floor, dead set on finding Lily and proving her presence. I had kissed her. I'd felt her arms around me. So either she was deliberately messing with her boss, or else her boss was crazy. Or I was crazy. No one was at the first floor nurse's desk. I paced the halls, peeking into rooms. Nothing. No Lily. Then I thought of something. She hadn't clocked in since the 12th. The 12th of February. That sounded familiar. I checked my phone. The last missed call from Lily had occurred on the 12th of February. That was the day she had chased me down in the lobby, accused me of calling her name in a creepy voice, demanded a divorce. I saw the voicemail icon and recalled she had left me a message that day. I dialed my voicemail, deleted a few messages, and then heard my wife's voice. Her sobbing, panicked, terrified voice. "Cyrus," she breathed. "Cyrus, I know you're not here, but I kept on hearing your voice, and I saw you again, but it wasn't you, because your face was all blurry. Then you walked into the closet and disappeared. Is this a joke? Please fucking tell me this is a..." She gasped, and I heard the phone drop. Then a muffled male voice, a voice that sounded terrifyingly familiar, saying something like, "Found you." Then I heard another voice, my wife's voice calling my name, but it wasn't coming from my phone. "Cyrus, Cyrus." I followed the voice. It was coming from the back entrance, from the direction of the closet Lily had tried to drag me into. As I approached, I remembered what I'd been told about old Greta. She'd freaked out, and they'd found her pawing at a closet door. Had it been this door? I turned the knob. I flicked on the light switch. I found myself staring at a tiny, dusty storage room, seemingly used as a dumping ground for cardboard boxes and broken equipment. The floor was peeling linoleum, and cobwebs hung from 2 cheap metal shelves. A healthy coating of dust told me this room was rarely accessed by the nursing staff. I heard it again. "Cyrus, Cyrus." I did a 360, then was hit with a dizzying realization that the voice was coming from under the floor. Anyone with the IQ of a monkey could tell you I should have bailed. That a disembodied voice calling my name beneath the floor on the first story of a building was not a phenomenon I should investigate alone. But wherever between my softcore script conversation with Lily and her gut-churning message on my phone, I stopped thinking logically. I looked around. No doors, no stairs, and I heard there wasn't a basement button on the elevators. Then I saw it. Under one of the shelves, a trap door, and a small black object. I knelt to look. A Motorola Razr with a Hello Kitty bauble and a small crack to the bottom left of the screen. Lily's phone. This discovery turbocharged my nervous system. I stood up, grabbed the shelf, and pulled. With a loud boom, the metal structure pivoted. I examined the trapdoor. It was latched and fastened with a dusty rusted lock. Lily's voice, louder, floated up from below. "Cyrus, come find me, Cyrus." Using my pocket knife, I easily picked the ancient lock. Then I lifted. saw darkness. As my eyes adjusted, I saw stairs. Damp, rotten wooden stairs leading down to some sort of cellar. I breathed in and gagged. The musty, earthy smell was overpowering. It was the smell of a wooden shed after the rain, mixed with the smell of a compost heap, mixed with a smell reminiscent of the family of possums that had gotten trapped under my mother's mobile home one December, died and rotted until spring. "Cyrus," Lily cried again. This time she sounded agitated, scared. I took a deep breath, then descended. I proceeded cautiously, cell phone in one hand, pocket knife clutched in the other, step by step. By the pale blue light of my cell screen, I saw the floor was dirt. I made out a dark blotch that must have been a puddle, and I heard faint dripping. The walls were gray cinder block with black designs painted on them. Then my feeble light fell on a woman with blue scrubs and long black hair. Lily. "Lil," I cried out. "Lily, what the fuck are you doing?" "Shh." She put a finger to her lips as she approached out of the darkness. Then I was standing on the earthen floor, and she was close. Close enough for me to see that her features weren't right. Her eyes were too small, her nose was too flat. She took my hands. Her features shifted, blurring in and out of focus. Was it an effect of the light seeping in through the trapdoor? Were my eyes still adjusting? And why had Lily of all places chosen? And then her mouth was against my mouth. I couldn't eat for 3 days. I felt her warm tongue dissolve in my mouth, turn cold and dead, break into icy chunks that tasted like dust and stringed cabbage and rotten fish, expanding in my throat, choking me. I pulled away, coughing and sputtering and trying to scream. I dropped my phone. As I dry heaved, I heard Lily's laughter. Now it sounded distant. Without thinking, I stood up. My phone had landed in the puddle, creating an inverted spotlight. A body, noose around its neck, hung from the rafters. Immobilized by terror, I was forced to take in every detail. Blue scrubs, feet dangling lifelessly, claw-like hands, plaster still in rigor mortis, long black hair, purple cheeks, open mouth, swollen tongue dripping dark saliva, bloodshot opal eyes protruding like a demented cartoon character's, staring into oblivion. Lily. Dead. Lily. I don't know how long I stared at my dead wife, hanging from the ceiling before I felt the hand on my shoulder. Jolted from my traumatized paralysis, I turned around. Illuminated by the light from the open trapdoor was me. My mirror image stood in front of me. While Lily's doppelganger had flitted in and out of focus, mine was explicitly, grossly, exact in every last detail. The little hairs on my unshaven cheeks, the red pimple on my forehead, the scar at the corner of my eye from when I fell off my bike during one of my second stepfather's drunken rampages. My smile was malicious, triumphant. Then it spoke in a twisted, modulated mockery of my voice. Aren't you going to say thank you? Then it started to melt. I don't remember much after that. I heard my own voice screaming. Whether it was me or my putrefying doppelganger, I don't care to find out. There were more voices, women's screams, rough hands on me, an arm around my shoulders, leading me up, then sunlight, then sirens. Lily had been dead for more than a week. That's what the police officers told me the second time I was questioned. The types of questions they were asking, I was sure they were going to pin it on me, especially given the nature of my and Lily's relationship, but they didn't. In the end, they ruled her death a suicide. She'd died by strangulation, though they didn't know how she'd managed it. She must have found the rope already hanging from the rafters. The cellar was 14 feet high. There was no way she'd been able to climb up and tie it herself. Nor could they find the chair or stool she had jumped off. They didn't know how she had found the basement. None of the nurses knew the dirt-floored cellar even existed. When the healthcare corporation had bought and gutted the place, they'd left the back of the first floor as it was. No attention had been paid to the little, sad closet, and no one could even explain how she'd gotten down into the basement in the first place. There was only one entrance, the trapdoor. The trapdoor I'd found, locked from the outside. Even with the coroner's report, the cops had trouble pinning down a timeline. Lily had gone missing on the 12th. Of that, the head nurse was adamant. I insisted I'd seen her alive on the day her body was found. Rivera backed me up. We weren't alone. Another nurse had had a conversation with Lily on the 15th. She remembered the date because it was the day after Valentine's Day, and the patient claimed he hadn't actually seen Lily as it had been dark and his eyesight wasn't what it used to be, but he had heard her voice singing him to sleep. This one was particularly strange, because the night the old man had allegedly been sung to sleep by Lily was a good 2 weeks after she had died, and a week after her decomposing body had been recovered. The cops wrote him off as confused, but I'm not so sure. I left town after Lily's funeral. My father in Bakersfield, with whom I hadn't spoken in years, called out of the blue and invited me to stay with him. When the flashbacks stopped and the memories scarred over, I screwed my head back on and went to paramedic school. I found a job, ran the Baker to Vegas stretch for a few years, then decided to take this next step in my career. I only applied to LA City Fire because it was ultra competitive, and I assumed I'd failed the psychiatric exam. When my new hire packet came in the mail, I picked it up off the porch with trembling hands. I wanted to say no, but LA City was the job a million guys would kill for, and my dad told me he'd knock me out, throw me in the back of his truck, and leave me on the station steps if he had to. I moved back to Los Angeles in March of this year. I didn't know anyone. I'd lost touch with all my old friends but Rivera, and Rivera was in New Jersey, burning through his 4th year in medical school. My new partner was a cool guy. He invited me to a barbecue at his church, promising there'd be a lot of people our age. There wasn't. But I did meet my new partner's uncle, Raoul, a retired LAPD officer. We talked, and I learned he'd been one of the cops who investigated Lily's death. He was cool about it. I was never a suspect, he assured me. Suicide was the only logical conclusion. Logical conclusion, he said sarcastically. Then he asked me what I knew about supernatural phenomena. I forced a laugh. He didn't. He asked if I'd seen the cinder block walls of the basement, the underground room where Lily was found dead. There had been little black designs, I recalled. They were faces, he told me. Faces all over the basement walls. Some were recognizable. Rustic Gables employees, patients, visitors. Some were the faces of people whose pictures were displayed by the patients. Family members, dead friends, celebrities, even the Pope. There were hundreds of them. And the strangest part was they couldn't figure out how the faces had gotten there. Samples were tested. No trace of paint or dye was found. Nothing could wash them away, and in the spots chipped for samples, the faces were redrawn in full within hours. My face was there. So was Lily's. And on his third trip down, Raoul found his face. The owners of Rustic Gables made the unanimous decision to sell the property. When no one bought it, they abandoned it, shipping their 168 residents off to other facilities. Apparently, they had more trouble with the place in the 3 years since remodeling it than it was worth. There had been 9 suicides in that time, 4 patients, 5 staff members, other mysterious deaths too. One I heard about, the woman giving an extra dosage of metoprolol because the medical doctor told her nurse to do so. Another time, a physical therapist found a blind, non-ambulatory patient locked in the staff bathroom, dead, with a pair of bandaged shears sticking out of his chest. And then there was the building's history. It had once been Section 8 housing. Raoul had been called there many times when he was a cop, and always got a weird vibe from the place. Other cops insisted the place was haunted. In 2001, the building nearly burned down. Arson. A 12-year-old boy locked his mother in her bedroom, set the couch on fire, then jumped out a 4th-floor window. 7 people died, including an LAPD officer. Prior to that incident, the kid had been acting bizarrely, claiming to see the ghost of his father, who had been murdered years before. Raoul and I parted ways. I drove home. I thought about orange-haired Greta, and I thought about Herbert Smith. She saw her dead son. He saw the man he regretted leaving behind. And Lily and I saw each other. Happier, lustier versions of each other. Versions still in love. The next day I did some research on doppelgangers. Omens of doom, embodiments of one's dark side, like Jekyll and Hyde. This led me to the shadow of Jungian philosophy. One's shadow is the manifestation of buried, selfish, evil thoughts. The thoughts you're not allowed to think, the thoughts you deny. I thought about what my doppelganger had said. Aren't you going to say thank you? Whatever demon or spirit lived in that basement, it collected faces. It could shapeshift, becoming the spitting image of any human form it saw, and it knew our desires and our regrets, our fears. It came to Greta as her son, then used Greta's love to drive her mad. It recreated the image Herbert Smith saw in his guilty nightmares. I wanted Lily to love me again, but a part of me wanted her gone forever. It gave me both. I drive by that building sometimes, the former rustic Gables S&F. The asphalt is cracked now, and the windows are shattered. I wonder if the walls have changed, if there are now more faces. Maybe those of transients or addicts who naively look to the abandoned structure for shelter. Sometimes I catch something out of the corner of my eye, through a darkened window. Sometimes it looks like a human face staring back at me, but I never let my gaze linger for long. I fear I'll see her face, see my mistakes, relive her death, and my inadvertent part in it. And I fear I'll see my own. That was the end of the Creepypasta Sniff. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you did too, guys. If you have any suggestions for what creepypastas you would like me to read, leave a comment down below and I will check it out. Until next time, take good care.